Hi guys, so your assignment today is to complete this ed puzzle. Basically, it's going to walk us through complex sentences specifically. We've been talking about all the types of sentences, simple, compound, and complex. But we're going to focus on complex today. And then toward the end of the slides, you will answer some questions and write your own complex sentences. So a complex sentence is an independent clause plus a subordinate clause. The subordinate conjunctions, which introduce a subordinate clause, there are many, and you have them in your notes. These are just a few: after, although, while, even though, because, until, since, before. Again, you have these listed out in your notes in your ELA notebook, and we came up with the little acronym, a white bus, and it lists them out back when we talked about clauses. Here's an example. The independent clause is highlighted and the subordinate clause is underlined. So this is a complex sentence. Because it was icy outside, school was canceled. So school was canceled is an independent clause. It could stand by itself as a sentence. Because it was icy outside is a subordinate clause. It starts with the subordinate conjunction because. Notice that when we start a sentence with a subordinate clause, we do have a comma there. Another example, we drank hot chocolate after we finished sledding. We drank hot chocolate is independent. After we finished sledding is subordinate. Please notice and be careful. If you use the subordinate conjunction after, you do need a subject and a predicate. If I just wrote, we drank hot chocolate after sledding, that would not be a subordinate clause. A subordinate clause does have to have a subject and a predicate after we finished sledding. And the last example, While my dad worked, I babysat my little brother. I babysat my little brother while my dad worked. Same sentence, both are complex, just again showing that if you start with a subordinate clause, you're going to see that comma. If you start with an independent clause, you won't see any punctuation. All right, this is a complex sentence. Which clause is subordinate? While our parents went to dinner, we stayed home. This is a complex sentence. Which clause is subordinate? If you add kiwi to gelatin, it will not gel. This is another complex sentence. Which clause is subordinate? Two kids got in trouble when they ran across the street ignoring traffic. Now we're going to switch our thinking, and it's another complex sentence, but this time, which clause is independent? It can stand by itself as a sentence. When we began using his phone to call random numbers, Jack got upset and angry. Which clause is independent? Mr. Johnson's teenage son has a brand new car, even though he does not have a job. These last three slides are the same, and you're basically going to write your own original examples of a complex sentence. Start with a subordinate clause. Use your notes for a subordinate conjunction to start your sentence. Then add an independent clause. Don't forget the punctuation. When you start with a subordinate clause, you're going to have a comma and then your independent. You can look back at examples for help if needed. The next one, again, type another complex sentence. And type another complex sentence. Now I know on this one it says again to start with a subordinate clause. If you feel pretty good about that, you could try to write another complex sentence and start with an independent clause and just switch it around a little bit. If you don't feel too confident with that, then just continue and do the same type of complex sentence that starts with a subordinate clause. And that's it for today.